It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Emergency podcast. Emergency podcast. This is very, very serious, folks. Very, very serious. We come to you now in a year that has already had more emergency podcasts than I ever thought we would, because CM Punk is off WrestleMania. Yes, CM Punk is apparently not going to be a part of WrestleMania. Rumors started to spread on Monday. I didn't hear. Maybe they were spreading on Sunday, but on Monday is when I really heard them. Before Raw came on the air, that CM Punk may have torn one or both of his triceps in the Rumble match. We saw him after the Rumble at ringside getting checked on by doctors, but a lot of times it's very difficult to see. Is this guy getting checked on as part of a storyline, or is this guy getting checked on because he's injured? And CM Punk, in his first televised match back, he'd had 2 house show matches with Dominic Mysterio. But in his first televised match back with WWE, CM Punk is unfortunately injured. I believe his right tricep was torn in the Royal Rumble match, in the match against Drew McIntyre. And he basically said that he will not be at WrestleMania. CM Punk looked at the sign, and to me, I mean, CM Punk has had good promos. You know, CM Punk had a great promo with Seth Rollins. CM Punk had a great promo with Cody Rhodes, both of which required emergency podcasts. That's how good they were. But this, to me, was better than even the first SmackDown promo. He had his first promo on Raw, which I think was just kind of letting people know he was back. And then the SmackDown promo was the one where he called everybody out. I think that the promo on Raw announcing that he had gotten injured was the best solo promo by far that he's done since he had been back, because it felt the most real, you know? And I think what it did ultimately was it laid tremendous groundwork. I think it goes to speak to what is happening in the WWE right now, that CM Punk can go down right after we found out Seth Rollins was injured, but apparently will be back for WrestleMania. And there's not this panic. There's a disappointment from WWE fans, because we wanted to see CM Punk. We wanted to see CM Punk versus Rhodes. We wanted to see CM Punk versus Rollins. We wanted to see CM Punk versus somebody. And his first WrestleMania back, a WrestleMania that was built around a return, that the groundwork was laid for 10 years ago, when CM Punk made it clear that his goal was to main event WrestleMania. His first WrestleMania back, he's going to miss due to injury. Of course, people are wondering about the general condition of CM Punk. This is not the first injury he's had since returning to wrestling. He took 7 years, I think, off before returning to AEW. And he had 2 pretty significant injuries in AEW that led to him having to get out of the ring for a period of time. And then when he gets back to WWE, this quickly, he's got another pretty significant injury. And I think that that's something that, while Punk is gone, he'll definitely have to address. And who knows? I'm not a doctor. I'm certainly not an expert in sports medicine. So am I going to sit here and tell you that this is something that needs addressing? Am I going to tell you that this is a guy who ran into some bad luck? We really don't know. But what we do know is that Punk tugged on our heartstrings. You know, when he looked up at that WrestleMania sign and he was welling up, because as much as we were disappointed that he wasn't going to be at WrestleMania, he made it clear that he was disappointed, and you believed him as he was saying it. I think that's why it was so strong. You actually believed CM Punk was truly disappointed. And at first, he was speaking as if he didn't know whether this was a good idea at all. But then he made it pretty clear that he was inspired by the Chicago Cubs, and something that the Chicago Cubs say every year is there's always next year. And CM Punk basically said, look, WrestleMania 40 is off the table, but it's time to start laying the groundwork for WrestleMania 41. And just as he was getting ready to say his final goodbye, Drew McIntyre's music hits. Now, Drew McIntyre's music hitting, it makes sense based on the stories that we've been telling. But this goes back to what the WWE is doing. Every opportunity that they have, they're laying seeds down for potential storylines that are all going to get paid off at some point. We just don't know exactly when. So Drew McIntyre comes, and that goes back to, like, Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble. And I saw on some of the comments on this week's podcast on YouTube that people were kind of like, why are you still saying if Cody faces Roman at WrestleMania? He made it pretty clear that that's what he was going to do. Yeah, he made it pretty clear on that night, but look at what happened on Raw. It was an extremely newsworthy night of Raw. You had Pat McAfee joining Michael Cole on commentary. It's led to commentary rumors that it may be Corey Graves and Wade Barrett teaming up on SmackDown, with Corey Graves for the first time slipping into lead announcer position. You had Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes having the promo of a lifetime, probably Rollins' best promo since winning the World Heavyweight title. You had all this stuff happening, and we'll get into all of it on Monday. But as these stories are being laid, because we still want, based on CM Punk mentioning Roman Reigns on his first SmackDown promo, we still want Punk versus Reigns. We still want Punk versus Rollins based on Rollins' initial reaction to Punk coming back, based on last year at the Royal Rumble Media Day when Seth Rollins made it clear that he didn't want Phil in the locker room, based on the promo that the two had face-to-face. We still want Cody and Punk based on the promo that they had face-to-face leading into the Royal Rumble. And now Drew McIntyre comes out. And Drew McIntyre, after saying what he has said about CM Punk and reacting the way he reacted when CM Punk left the WWE or returned to the WWE after leaving the WWE, he comes out and he says that he feels for Punk. He knows how Punk's feel. He starts to display signs of empathy. And he goes, I've been where you've been. I know how much this sucks. And then he goes, I'm usually not a spiritual man, but I prayed for this to happen, and it did. And you go, oh my God, when Drew McIntyre says that he prayed for CM Punk's injury, and it happened. Drew McIntyre coming to the ring and saying, I prayed upon your downfall, and I got it, was just so incredible. I mean, it just to the core. Because when I first see CM Punk doing this promo, I'm going, you know, it could be interesting if he goes away for a while, and when he comes back as a vengeful heel, right? But then when I see Drew McIntyre say, I prayed on your downfall, and that's what I received. All we want now, as much as we want those other three big matches, Drew McIntyre has now slid his way right into that conversation and given us those top 4 active roster CM Punk matches with Drew taking that spot. I don't know how long did Punk will be out for. I mean, and then they do the moment where Punk tries to fend off an attack from Drew, tries to fight back, but of course Drew is able to put Punk down. Sami Zayn, who returned at the Royal Rumble, comes out to save CM Punk, and we get, Raw ending with Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, and who knows, maybe that's where we go for WrestleMania. Maybe Drew versus Seth is where we go for WrestleMania. I couldn't tell you. And I don't know exactly how long CM Punk will be out for. I love the idea of Sami Zayn defending CM Punk, and Sami Zayn's in a really interesting position because Sami Zayn is now the guy who, when the whole roster didn't want Jey Uso on Monday Night Raw, Sami Zayn stood up for him. When there are members of the roster that don't like that CM Punk is on it, Sami Zayn stood up for him. Sami Zayn is that guy who will stand up for his friends, whether it's popular or unpopular, and I like that about that character. But I guess they're saying that CM Punk could be out for 4 to 6 months. This is far from confirmed. This is not confirmed by any official source. This is stuff that you read on the internet. 4 to 6 months, if that is the case, would put us, February, March, April, around May. I mean, look, while yes, CM Punk could come back as a heel, I think the move is to have CM Punk come back with one thing clear. Cody Rhodes is going to WrestleMania this year. Next year, CM Punk has to main event WrestleMania. He should not use the phrase finish the story whatsoever, but he comes back and makes it clear. I have to main event WrestleMania. I could easily see a scenario where within, say, 6 months from now, Drew McIntyre is finally the World Heavyweight Champion. I think that Drew McIntyre's work right now is as good as it's been maybe since coming off the pandemic. Years. It's as good as it's been in years. And I think he's found this real comfortable place that's coming from a very honest place. It is not hard to figure out the motivation of where the Drew McIntyre character is coming from. But the fact that he preyed on CM Punk's downfall, the fact that he jumped a CM Punk while his arm was in a sling, it solidifies. Drew McIntyre is not a kind of in-between guy that's leaning heel based on his circumstances. Drew McIntyre is a straight-up villain. It wouldn't shock me whatsoever to see Drew McIntyre with the World Heavyweight Championship. Because if Drew McIntyre doesn't eventually win the World Heavyweight Championship based on this story, then he looks terrible for it. And I don't know how that all plays itself out, because I feel like Damian Priest needs a run with the title and Drew McIntyre needs a run with the title in fairly short order. Now, of course, we'll talk about the Cody Rhodes of it all and the fact that Seth Rollins is now challenging Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I don't know that that'll happen. I mean, it could be interesting if Cody Rhodes were to beat Seth Rollins at the Elimination Chamber, win the World Heavyweight title, and go title for title with Roman Reigns, but I don't see them combining titles again. I think that would be a foolish decision. So, based on the fact that there's only been one World Heavyweight champion. So if you have one champion and then you join the titles again, it's like, what did we do all that for? So I think that it is time for Rollins to lose that title. I think that WrestleMania may be the time for him to lose that title, or the night after WrestleMania with Damian Priest. Either way, I think Damian Priest needs to win it at some point. I think Drew McIntyre needs to win it at some point. I think by the time that CM Punk comes back, I think he can make it clear that he needs to go to WrestleMania. And the way he's going to get to WrestleMania is by winning the World Heavyweight title now. CM Punk does not want to go back and try to win that Royal Rumble. CM Punk almost won it, realized how difficult it was, could not win it, and got injured in the match. CM Punk wants to stay away from that 30-man Royal Rumble at all costs. It's one of the most dangerous matches that the WWE has. So what's Punk going to do? Punk's going to win the World Heavyweight title before WrestleMania so that he can carry it in and guarantee himself in the main event, because he will be the champion. I think that Punk can beat McIntyre for that World Heavyweight title before you get to WrestleMania. I think there's another thing that you could do. When you look at the calendar and you figure out, I wonder when's a good time for CM Punk to come back. He's not going to be back for WrestleMania. Odds are, if he's not back for WrestleMania, he probably won't be back for Backlash. So we are looking at a May, maybe a June. Well, what about July 6th? What if CM Punk goes away for a while and comes back on July 6th? See, while CM Punk is away, I think it's imperative that he comes back a new man. I think that in order to maintain the faith of the WWE Universe, CM Punk needs to look like a machine when he comes back. I would go away. I would get myself healthy. I would fix that torn tricep. I would do everything that I have to do. But while I'm doing that, you're working on conditioning. You're putting on muscle. You're doing everything that you possibly can so that when you do get back to the WWE, you are just a totally different beast, a refocused animal. It gives you the opportunity to do that, the fact that you're away. And I think that the way to do that is to give yourself a good 6 to 7 months. July 6th is the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in Toronto, Canada. There is nobody more known for Money in the Bank than CM Punk. You could argue Edge, but I would put CM Punk right up there with Edge. CM Punk won that Money in the Bank briefcase twice. CM Punk was able to get to the World Heavyweight title at a time when nobody pegged him as a future World Heavyweight champion because of that Money in the Bank briefcase. So how is CM Punk going to get to the World Heavyweight title? The only way that CM Punk knows how. Win the Money in the Bank briefcase. CM Punk is a 2-time Money in the Bank briefcase winner, and I would say inarguably The biggest match that he ever had was against John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. If the timetable puts CM Punk healthy by June, give it a month. July 6th, whether you promote it or you don't promote it, whether he's a mystery or not, is when I think CM Punk comes back. You can start to build another summer of Punk. We know how Punk is in these summers. Build another summer of Punk that takes us to the Royal Rumble and builds up to the fact that, yeah, he's won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Maybe by then he's won the World Heavyweight title. Maybe he's cashed in. But there's one thing left to do, and that's go to WrestleMania as the champion. And maybe the Royal Rumble 2025 is the one that Seth Rollins wins. Maybe. What if Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Roman Reigns disappears. Roman Reigns returns at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns wins the thing. And Roman Reigns makes it clear that CM Punk is the guy that he still owes something to. That CM Punk never had to pay for mentioning Roman Reigns' name. What if Roman Reigns and CM Punk go to WrestleMania next year? There's a world of possibilities. It sucks so much that we're not getting CM Punk at this year's WrestleMania. And it sucks that it had to go this way. Luckily, we've got nothing but stories. And we've got the opportunity for CM Punk to come back better than ever. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope that's what you're hoping for, too. If you're listening to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, make sure you leave comments and everything. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, hit like, and don't forget, as we're talking about WrestleMania, CM Punk is out of WrestleMania. I'm not. Notsam comes to Philadelphia April 3rd. That's the Wednesday before WrestleMania. 8 p.m. Wednesday, April 3rd at the Helium Comedy Club in Philadelphia. You can get your tickets now. Go to notsam.com, click that tickets link, and it'll take you right to the Helium website. Get your tickets. Be there. We will be back probably tomorrow with a new interview here on the channel from Tampa, from Not Sam Wrestling Live. So be here for that. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.